What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and I'm here to take you through the most comprehensive NBA player prop preview for Game 5 of the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. If it's your first time checking out the channel, I encourage you to subscribe. We're close to getting 8,000 subscribers. But also, I do this every single day. I share my screen. We go through Outlier. We go through all the key players. We talk through their matchups, their form lines, what the odds are, whether you should play it on fantasy or sports books. I talk about the things that I like, the things that I don't. And I do all this to give you all the information that you need to make the best bets possible. Now, we haven't seen NBA for a few days now. So, quick recap on the last game. We did bag a couple winners. We had Anthony Edwards over 7.5 points in the first quarter. We had Luka Doncic over 7.5 points in the first quarter. Cash. We cashed on Mike Conley over 11.5 points. And we also cashed on Luka Doncic over 3.5 three-pointers made. Now, my last video, it was MLB. And I know you guys know I don't do very well on MLB. Well, not that. I don't know much about MLB. But the picks I shared yesterday, absolute bangers. We had two players to hit a home run. We had Ohtani to hit a home run, turned $100 into $450, and Gunnar Henderson hit a home run, turned $100 into $460. Now, I can't take all the credit for that. I can't take any of it, really. I just shared the pick because the player prop shop is where I got the information from. I know I've showed it to you before, but check out the player prop shop. They do detailed analysis across major sports. The link is in the video description below, and they've got 40% off running at the moment, I think, for the next 7 days. So feel free to check that out. I know you're here for NBA, so let's get to previewing. Before we jump into Outlier, let's check out the box score from that last game between these two teams. If that sounds interesting, let's go. All right, we're checking out the box score of Game 4 of this series. The Wolves managed to force Game 5, winning 105-100 against the Dallas Mavericks. Checking out the box score, what did we see? We saw Jaden McDaniels score 10 points. He just covered his points line, but damn, that would have been tight. Anthony Towns exploded, 25 points. He still fouled out, only 5 rebounds, though, made 4 3-pointers. Those 1,500 shots a day coming in handy. Rudy Gobert had 13 points and 10 boards. Anthony Edwards was great, 29 points, 9 assists, 10 rebounds. Mike Conley, 14 points, 7 assists. Spark plug when it comes to their attack. And Nas Reed quiet off the bench with only 6 points, but so was Kyle Anderson with only 2 points off the bench. Looking at the Dallas Mavericks, we saw Derek Jones Jr. score 9 points. PJ Washington had only 10. He shot very poor. Daniel Gafford, 12 points, 8 rebounds, didn't miss a shot. We saw Kyrie play pretty poor by his standard, only 16 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, under in all of his lines, 1 from 6 from deep. And we had Luka Doncic, didn't shoot the ball very well in this game, did get to the free throw line, had 28 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. And if we have a look at the Dallas bench, Jaden Hardy went off, 13 points in 12 minutes. He continues to impress. Maxi Kleber made a return, only took 3 shots, scoring 2 points. Dante Exum played a bit of time, but nothing major happening off the bench. Now, the reason why I wanted to look at these box scores is not just to talk about who did what in the last game, but to try to anticipate which players do we feel are going to bounce back? What adjustment do you think these teams are going to be made? So as I look through this box score, my first thought here is a potential under for Karl Anthony Towns. 4 from 5 from downtown. I think that's a bit of an outlier. The risks involving Karl Anthony Towns is foul trouble, and he definitely found that. And he shot 70% from the field in this game. So I question he's going to be able to do that. My other thought process there is there's a chance that Derek Lively plays his game time decision for this one. So that can tighten up in the middle. No looks on Rudy Gobert. He's pretty much been doing the same thing in almost every game this series. He's gone under his rebound line every game, but I'm sure his rebound chances remain high. Anthony Edwards playing very well. So his lines might be high. The rebounds and assists might be another look. I had that as a heavy lean in the last game and I didn't take it. So we'll see how I go looking at that. His points line probably stays the same or it moves up slightly. Mike Conley's points line, I think that could be a good look. That probably shouldn't move. And Nas Reed, he finally had a slow game. Only 6 points in 19 minutes. So there might be a good bounce back spot for him and some aggression for Karl Anthony Towns. And if we look at the Dallas Mavericks, what do we see? So PJ Washington, there's clearly some upside in his play. He was only 3 from 13, 2 from 9 from deep. So he could be better. We've got Daniel Gafford. I don't see too much upside in betting on him. A near perfect game, really. 6 from 6, 8 boards, 12 points. Kyrie Irving, definite upside, especially at the end of that last game. Ant was talking that trash to him. So Kyrie could have a bounce back. And Luka is just a beast, so we don't have to talk too much about him. And then Jaden Hardy. I might be willing to give in to the Jaden Hardy players. I keep having it as a lean, and then I don't end up taking it. But he could be due for a strong game in this one. But I guess the main thing I'm thinking about at the moment, we've got Luka Doncic, Mike Conley, Derek Lively, all game time decisions. So be interesting to see what Gafford's lines are at, given Lively's pending status. So let's jump into this game and see what we can find. Hopefully, we can find some value. Hopefully, you guys haven't placed your bets yet, because I might be able to bring you some news and some information that you need to keep in mind before you place them. But I know a lot of people have put their videos out already. I'm pretty much on a consistent schedule, so I get it out early if I can. And for this particular one, I could not. So Dallas on the road, so I want to start with them. Where's my man, Luka? All right. So what can we think about Luka? Points line 30.5. In this series, he's covered this in 3 out of the 4 games. So last game, only scoring 28 points. His minutes, very much the same. Shot attempts, 20 plus every time. So he did only shoot 36% from the field in that last game. From deep, 33% from the field overall, sorry. So it's his worst shooting performance so far in this series in that very last game. Said it himself, he didn't come out with the right energy. He got to the free throw line, but overall, it's just the field goals. The percentages were not there. If we look at how he's performed against Minnesota, he had been killing them up until that point. And normally, 45% from the field for Luka. So if he can get back up to around 45% from the field, then I really do like the over for him in this. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not going to make any adjustments with how they defend Luka. I think the major adjustment is probably putting more Ant on him than Jaden McDaniels. But I think still the main concern there is if you do that too much and Anthony Edwards gets into foul trouble, then your offense is cooked. So I like to look for over 30.5 for Luka, regardless of how they play him. The 28, that's an outlier. That's an underperformance from Luka. I think he's good enough to get over 30. Now, first quarter points, that's still at 7.5, but the odds have come down. It's minus 120. He's hit this in 3 out of the 4 games this series, 6, 9, 8, and 10. The only game where he hasn't covered this points line is where Kyrie went crazy in the first quarter. So his minutes are pretty strong. I'd probably lean to the over in this one. I don't know if I want to bet it again, though, but definitely a lean for me. So I'll research that a bit further. But I just question, how long can we keep playing the same play? Know what I'm saying? 3-pointers made. So I did take this last time. Minus 110 to the over. I'm not sure how much I love that, because I got it at, plus 105 last time. It's now at minus 110. So I'd lean to the over for sure for Luka Doncic's 3-pointers. But again, he made that 4 3-pointer with just a minute left or something. So it wasn't a sweat-free bet at all. Actually, a lot of sweat included. So I'd lean to the over, but something I'm hesitant in playing. Looking at Luka's assists, 8.5 in this series. He's gone 8, 13, 5, and then 10. Following these trends, he's due to go under. Games being played on the road, he had 1, 8, and 13 on the road in this series. If we look at his potential assists, he had 13 potential assists in that last game, which is quite low, but still managed to finish with 10. Now, if Gafford goes 6 from 6, I'm assuming a lot of those from Luka's passes. So his potential assist volumes aren't typically high enough for me to want to take the over. So his assist play, I'd prefer to avoid. His rebounds, that's at 9.5 in this series. He's gone 6, 10, 7, and then 15. 17 rebound chances. I called it out in the last video. No Derek Lively. Daniel Gafford's going to be more court time, which means he's going to be looking to put pressure on any shots inside the paint. It's going to take himself out of rebound position. I said PJ Washington and Luka Doncic most likely to grab a lot more boards. That happened to be Luka Doncic in this game. 15 rebounds from 17 rebound chances. So a lot of these are uncontested rebounds. Now, if Derek Lively does play, I don't know what type of minutes he's going to get, so stay close to that. But the rebounds for Luka, I would probably have to lean to the over in this one. But it's not a bet that I'm going to take. Because if Lively comes back and he plays his full complement of minutes he normally does, then I probably don't like this as much. If Lively doesn't play, I think this is a great look. But those things are up in the air at the moment. So not something I want to commit to right now. So for me, probably just Luka's over in points is what I'm feeling in this one, especially after the Dallas Mavericks lost and Luka didn't shoot very well. There's a few motivational factors, got nothing to do with data, that lead me to believe that he can blast that line out of the water. Next up is Kyrie Irving. His point sign 23.5. So in that last game, saw a little bit more Jaden McDaniels. In this series, he's gone 30, 20, 33, and then 16. Following the same trends, this man is going to go over. But you've got to do more than just follow the trends, right? Looking at the field goal attempts, the volume in this series is great: 23, 16, 20, and then 18 shots. The major concern in that last game was that percentage: 33% from the field. Not great. He was 1 from 6 from deep after having 2 good shooting games. He'd only get to the line 3 times as well. So probably lacking a little bit of aggressiveness in that one. Kyrie said it himself in the post-game presser that he needed to be more aggressive coming into this next game. So I'm going to have to take, he's said that before and he's delivered for us. So 23.5, I'm happy to take the over on that for Kyrie. He's had a lot of luck against, a lot of success. I wouldn't say luck against Minnesota in the past. Minnesota have adjusted and given a bit more Jaden McDaniels on Kyrie, but I'm sure Kyrie is going to make the necessary adjustments too. So the points are probably lean to the over in that. Looking at his assist, 4.5 in this series, 4, 6, 4, and 4. There's no real lean to the over. His potential assists, the highest he's had in this series, 10 and 9. So you need to get 5 assists, but can you guarantee he's going to get 10 potential assists? I don't think he can. So I wouldn't lean to the under, but definitely not a bet that I'm willing to take. Rebounds, 3.5, 5, 4, 3, 2. If you believe in trends, he's getting 1 in the next one, but only 5 potential rebounds in that last game. So, yeah, Kyrie boards, I'm not feeling that either. 3-pointers made. I did take his over 3-pointers made in the last game. He only shot 1 from 6. So, interesting to see what type of adjustments we see. Does Kyrie continue to shoot despite the poor game? Or does he look to get into the inside and attack the rack a little bit more? So, I'd like to see him go over in threes. I just don't know whether that's going to happen. So I'd probably choose not to play that. But the points prop, if I had to pick anything for Kyrie, that's the way that I would be going. Next up is DG. Let's talk about Daniel Gafford. Interested to see what his lines look like. So his points prop, 9.5. He had 12 in that last game. So in this series, 10, 16, 5, and 12. A lot of minutes in his last 2 games. Shoots a high percentage and doesn't take too many shots. He didn't even get to the free throw line. So on the road, I wouldn't say that I hate it at all. The lively thing probably makes you a bit hesitant, but I would lean to the over. Odds are at minus 120 for Daniel Gafford to go over, though, so I don't love that, but that's the way that I would be leaning. His rebounds, 6.5 boards is the line in this series, 9, 5, 3, and then 8 rebounds in that last game. 18 rebound chances, finishing on 8. Line is only at 6.5, but again, the whole lively thing is what's making me second guess it all. Lively is a game time decision due to the neck sprain, so there's not too much news on that out at the moment. So I would wait. My thought process there is if Derek Lively doesn't play, then you like the over. If Lively does play, I probably wouldn't bet it. It could be a live bet option once we see how Lively's looking out there. So those are my thoughts on Daniel Gafford. I'm not taking any bets on him. Leaning to the over in his points, his rebounds. There's too many different factors that could get in the way of that. Then let's talk about Derek Jones Jr. real quick. So I was one thinking he was going to go under in that last game, but he managed to put 2 strong shooting performances together. Crazy. 8.5 is the line. He's gone 8, 4, 11, and 9 points. The difference, his shot attempts, low as hell. This is the difference here. 3 from 3 and then 2 from 3 from downtown. The question is, can he continue to shoot that well? The biggest difference maker here, Dallas back on the road. So in the 2 road games against Minnesota, he was 0 from 5 in those 2 games. Then he came home and he was 5 from 6 from 3-point range. So I think he's going to get the shots. The question is, can he make them? And that I have no idea about. So Derek Jones Jr., just a watch from me. Where's my man, PJ Washington? Here he is. So this guy is Dallas's 3rd leading scorer, but not having the series that he would have liked. So this is his 3-pointers made prop. It's still at 1.5. He's cashed this in 3 out of the 4 games in this series and 9 out of his last 10 games in the playoffs. Now, why I like this play already, well, firstly, Outlier showed it to me, so it shows you the players with the highest hit rate. But it's his volume. The volume is there, so he's taking the shots. He just hasn't been making them, unfortunately. From 9 in that last game, so if anything, Minnesota will be saying, let him take that shot. And the Dallas Mavericks will be saying to PJ Washington to take that shot. Keep going. Take that shot. So I don't mind the over there for PJ Washington. He just 3-pointers made, 1.5. Someone who's probably going to take 6 to 8 3-pointers. I think that's a good look. His points line, 12.5. In this series, 13, 10, 16, and 10. So if you believe in trends, your man's bouncing back and he's going over. I do like his 3-pointers made prop more than the points prop, but can definitely see him going over. That's the way I would be leaning. His rebound line is at 5.5. It's at minus 135, which is not great, but this is one of the ones for your fantasy players. I'd lean to the over on this one for PJ Washington in this series, 7-5, 8-5. So again, a lot of these guys just bouncing up and down. If you just bet the opposite to how their last game went, for a lot of these players, you'd be cashing out. I tell you what, I'd be leaning to the over. Not a bet that I'm going to take given the odds. But if you're using chalkboard, dabble, you know what it is, then go ahead. I don't mind that at all. Who else we got from this joint? Now let's go with, we're going to have to look at Jaden Hardy now. So Jaden Hardy. I said in the last video where I previewed these teams that I like the looks. He's aggressive. My concern is that he's not getting the minutes and his shot volume is not very high. So he's line at 5.5. He's cashed it in 3 straight games in this series. His minutes 11, 11, and 12. But check out the points: 8, 7, and then 13. He took 8 shots in 12 minutes, which is pretty crazy. 3 from 4 from deep. So absolute spark plug off the bench. This is one of those plays where I had a really strong lean for it in the last game and I didn't take it. Now I start to question, have I missed my opportunity? Right? So I'd lean to the over for sure. This man's been on fire. He's been killing it. But you also had a very similar trend line. Kyle Anderson had a similar trend line, and then he absolutely stunk in that last game. And I know that because I took the bet. But Jaden Hardy, over 5.5 points, I do like. He'll be coming into this game with some confidence, shot the ball extremely well. He knows he's going to get 10 to 12 minutes, and in that 10 to 12 minutes, he needs to be an offensive weapon. So the shots are going to go up there for Jaden Hardy, and I don't mind that points prop. So what else have we got? Heading over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's start with Anthony Edwards, of course. All right, let's check out Ant-Man. His point sign is at 28.5 in this game. Plus 100 to the over. In this series, he's gotten better in every game. 19, 21, 26, and then 29 points in the last game. Still facing elimination here, so I'd definitely be leaning to the over for him. Last 2 games, 24 and 25 attempts, shooting 44% from the field. Not settling for too many 3-pointers, getting to the free throw line, but hasn't been shooting free throws very well. So Anthony Edwards over in points is definitely a way that I'm leaning, and my reasons are the elimination game factor. He's talking that game, so he's got to walk that walk. He's been improving in every single game. His volume in the last 2 has been absolutely excellent. If Dallas could have made some adjustments to slow him down further, they would have made them already. Derek Lively could impact the points prop, though, not going to lie, because he did start to pick up his offensive game once Lively got injured. And then in the game without Lively, clearly more aggressive attack in the rack. So I'd lean to the over for Anthony Edwards points. I don't think I'm going to play it, though. What I'll probably run back is his first quarter points prop at 7.5. Minus 119. He's cashed in all 4 games in this series, 8, 10, 9, and 14 points. When this man's legs are fresh, he's a scoring machine. The problem is playing 40 minutes a night, towards late in the game, he starts to fatigue. But the first quarter, look for Anthony Edwards, who plays almost every second of the first quarter. That's definitely a way that I like. Looking at his assists, it's still at 6.5, but now it's juiced to the gills, minus 142. So Underdog, Prize Picks, Chalkboard, Dabble Fantasy, any of those apps, the over in Anthony Edwards is definitely the way to go. Rebounds, that's gone up to 7.5 now. In this series, he's gone for 11, 5, 9, and 10 rebounds. It's a plus money play at 7.5, but he needs to get 8 rebounds, which is a lot. That's a lot for a guard. I know he's going to be out there, but that's a lot. The way that I've been looking at Anthony Edwards is on the rebounds and assists. So he's cashed this in 3 out of the 4 games this series. The games where he's cashed it, he's really blown it out of the water. The game he fell short, he fell under his rebounds and assist line anyway. So the 14.5 for Anthony Edwards is not a bad look. But then another way that you could look at this is, thinking about it now, you could probably do a nice little parlay. So let me share. Actually, I can't share my screen on this one. It's a different browser. But you could do a parlay, the same game parlay, and have Anthony Edwards for 6 rebounds and 6 assists. So meaning one can't cater for the other, but I'm just checking the odds on that right now to see what we get. So it's not bad. I'm getting, minus 112 for him to get 6 rebounds and 6 assists. I think that might be a good look, because the assists and firstly, 6.5 assists is juiced to the max, and his rebound line's gone up to 7.5. So he needs 8 rebounds, which scares me a little bit. Even though he's been rebounding quite well, I don't mind the 6 and 6 there as a parlay for Anthony Edwards. So I'll let you know, for those of you who signed up to my Winnable, my final bets will be there. But that's the way that I'm thinking about Anthony Edwards right now. Whilst I'm on Anthony Edwards, this could be a look. Just looking at his turnover prop. So the line for his turnovers is at 3.5. The last 2 games, he's had 5 and 6 turnovers. And those last 2 games, a lot of fatigue. Actually, he's playing at home now, and at home he doesn't turn the ball over too much. So forget about that one. Forget about that look for Anthony Edwards. It's a real recent trend. If Minnesota happen to win this game and force a game 6, then his turnovers, it could be a good look for the next game played in Dallas. Now let's get to my man, one of my favorite players of all time, Karl Anthony Towns. That's sarcasm. I hate this guy. But he did play okay in that last game, especially late in that game. He was clutch as hell, right? Got to give him that. His points line, 19.5 for Cat. In this series, 16, 15, 14, and 25 points. His minutes bounce up and down because sometimes Naz Reid outplays him. Other times he's in foul trouble. So that last game was a major outlier. That was the least amount of shots he's taken in a game in this series. It was the highest shot percentage at 69%. He made 9 buckets, which is crazy. He shot 4 from 5 from 3, which is completely different to what he had been doing previously. So I want you to think about whether he can maintain that, because I don't think he can. But if you think he can, take the over. I don't think he can. I think these 16, 15, 14-point games is the type of Cat that we should see in this game. He's back at home, and I don't know what the number is, but it could be like 15 to 6. Look, I know it's late February. Karl Anthony Towns hasn't exceeded this line since late February at home. So I'm willing to take the bet. It's a plus money play here for Karl Anthony Towns to go under 19.5 points. So I'm definitely leaning to the under there for Karl Anthony Towns points. We then have his assists. That's at 2.5, minus 120. That's not looking great. The potential assists. He's getting 4 potential assists in every game, and you need 3 assists in order for this bet to cash. So the under makes the most sense, but I would never bet an under on anyone for 2.5 assists. His rebound line's at 7.5. In this series, 7, 7, 11, and 5. Rebound chances, 11, 14, 17, and 10. Look, it's really difficult to get a read here on Cat's rebounds, so I'd prefer to just avoid it. I couldn't tell you whether he's getting over or under. I think points is probably the main thing that I could probably fade. Actually, one thing I want to look at was his 3-point line. So he killed it from downtown. His line's at 2.5. I'm going to lean to the under, but it's at minus 175, which is not great. So again, this is probably another one. If you can catch this line on those fantasy props, Karl Anthony Towns under 2.5 3-pointers is the way that I'm leaning. I reckon he made 4 3-pointers in that last game. I think 2 of them were flukes, to be honest. He was just feeling it. He got hot. I doubt they allow him to do that again. Now, if we look at his counterpart, we have Naz Reid. Now, Naz Reid finally had a slow game, and it was a game that I bet on him. 10.5 points. That's the good thing. His line was at 12.5 in the last one. Had a pretty poor game with 6. Now that line's sitting at 10.5. So in this series, 15, 23, 14, and 6 points for Naz Reid. We saw in that last game, minutes were down, 19.9 minutes, the lowest number of minutes he's seen all series long. He only took 6 shots. He was 3 from 6 from the field. Probably need to understand these rotations a little bit better, because if Cat was in foul trouble, well, I saw Kyle Anderson got 25 minutes. So Kyle Anderson got more game time than Naz Reid, believe it or not. So that's where I'd probably be hesitant to bet the over, even though the line's dropped. If that's a tactical change that they want to play more Kyle Anderson than Naz Reid, then fair enough. So I'd be a little bit hesitant to bet on Naz Reid. My initial gut feel was to take the over. But once again, if we think about why the under occurred in the last one, there could be some tactical changes, right? It's not like Naz played bad. He was 3 from 6. He just didn't get the time, and he only took 6 shots. So there's my hesitations. Rebound line is at 4.5. It's a plus money play. 5, 2, 3, and 5 are his rebound numbers so far in this series. His rebound chances aren't very high. So Naz Reid, haven't bet on his rebounds yet in this series, and I'm not going to start now. No. Right, who else we got from this Minnesota Timberwolves team? We got Jaden McDaniels. Let's take a look at this guy. So what, he scored 10 points in that last game, if I remember correctly. Yep, 10 points. His line's at 10.5 in this series, 24, 2, 15, and 10 points for Jaden McDaniels. The minutes are always there. The shot attempts, I think the 15 in game 1 was an outlier because he was on fire. Since then, 6, 8, and 8. So I think what's a fair assessment is to book him in for 8 shots. 8 shots. He hasn't taken a free throw in 4 games, so what you're relying on is for him to make buckets. So you line at 10.5, he is making a three-pointer in most games, so you could say that he needs 5 buckets. So he's gonna take 8 shots, he needs to make at least 5 shots in order to cash this line. So I do not like the over whatsoever, but the line's also quite low, so I wouldn't feel comfortable betting the under. So I'm gonna have to pass on Jaden McDaniels. Assists, ain't nobody mucking around with his assists, and his 3-point lines at 1.5. This could be an interesting look. He's cashed in 3 out of the 4 games. He's taking about 4 3-pointers. So you need him to shoot 50% from the field in order to cash this bet. Has been shooting well in this series, but if you look at his season form, Jaden McDaniels shoots 34% from deep. So if we look at the historical data, I'm not necessarily loving the potential there for Jaden McDaniels. Mike Conley. So I bet he's over in points in the last game and he cashed. I think he cashed it real early third quarter, maybe in the first half, but Magic Mike was doing well. His line in this game is at 12.5 plus 108. He's cashed this in 3 out of his last 4, 18, 16, and 14 points for Mr. Conley. His minutes are great, in the low 30s, shot attempts, somewhat consistent. His percentages are great though, 50, 55, and 56% in his last 3. He didn't even shoot the ball well from downtown in the last game, 1 from 4, but made some free throws, got some easy floaters and all that. So Mike Conley, I'm still liking the over in this one. I'm willing to run this one back based on how Dallas are playing defensively, who they're allowing looks to. They're obviously not going to allow too many lobs to Rudy and drop off. So if Mike Conley gets into that paint, I see a little bit of floater game. I think that's going to happen. The assist is an interesting look. That last game finally exceeded his assist prop because prior to that, he had 3, 5, and 4 assists. Then he had 7 assists in the last game. Only had 7 potential assists. So I don't know where those assists came from, whether they were lobs, if that because Lively was missing, but that's interesting. I don't want to bet the over. I don't want to bet the under for Mike Conley, so I'm going to have to pass on that. His rebounds are usually a good look, but at 2.5, at 148, I don't like it. But this is a great play for the over. If you're, again, using all those daily fantasy apps, Mike Conley over 2.5 boards, I think that's an excellent look. You can cash out on that. We've got Rudy Gobert. Now, I'll make this one quick because this guy's doing the same type of bullshit in every single game. He's running around. He's demanding the ball in the post. Cat's giving it to him. None of it's making sense. His points line's at 11.5. In this series, 12, 16, 9, and 13 points for Rudy. His minutes, for the most part, are good. You can book him in for 35 to 40 minutes. Last 2 games, he's only taken 4 and 5 shots, but his field goal percentage is sky high. So he's probably getting the Daniel Gaffer treatment. He's getting to the free throw line, though, but not shooting them very well in this series. So Rudy, I'd probably lean to the over in his points, but with not too much confidence. His rebound line's at 10.5. Minus 127 to the over. He's gone under in all 4 games. And look, I pretty much predicted this in the last game. I said he probably goes under, but the reason why I'm not betting the under is because he's probably going to get 20 plus rebound chances. And those things happen. Under 10.5, 22 rebound chances. So even though he's gone under in all 4 games this series, I'm still not willing to bet under 10.5 boards for Rudy Gobert because he's probably going to have 20 rebound chances again. So I'll probably have to pass on all things Rudy. But let's see, maybe we can find some value in somebody else. Pretty much into the bench now. We've got Kyle Anderson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So Kyle Anderson, broke my heart. Not really. But he didn't score the points that I needed him to. 5.5 is the line. The over is a plus 106. In this series, 11, 7, 10, and 2 points for Kyle Anderson. He played 25 minutes of that last game, which would have been great for our bet, or my bet, but he only took 3 shots. So he plays the most minutes he has all series, and then he takes the lowest number of shots that he could in this series. Figure that one out. So I want to look at his PRA. 11.5 is a PRA. He'd cashed that in the first 3. The last game, he had extra minutes. So 4 rebounds, 4 assists for Kyle Anderson, and only 2 points. So I wonder what the rebounds plus assists looks like. 6.5. That's pretty high. So for Kyle Anderson, the value is gone from his lines. They've really sharpened up nice and quickly. They adjusted to the rotation. So players on Kyle Anderson, I don't necessarily want to entertain. Next up is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So his points line at 4.5. Did score 6 points in the last game, twice in the 4 games. But his minutes coming down. Book him in between 12 and 15 minutes. So I don't know. I've bet on him before when he's coming off the bench. I think, what am I thinking? I'm thinking maybe someone like Josh Green could turn up, actually. That's one player that I missed. Let's check Josh Green out. All right, so his point line's only at 3.5. I like it already. 3.5 in this series, 3-5-3-5. Maybe I don't love it as much, but his minutes 13, 21, 25, 16, and he's taking between 3 and 4 shots per game, and a lot of those are 3-pointers. Look, maybe I don't like it, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Josh Green comes out and scores 10 points in this game or something crazy, but I'm not sure if I can dance with that. Let me share with you, let me go through these lists of leans once more. Just in case you've made it this far, we've got, I like Luka's over in points, back game, on the road, all that stuff. Luka first quarter points, it's an absolute wagon. Kyrie, I like his points, big bounce back required from him. PJ Washington, I like his 3-pointers made. That's purely on volume. The volume is there. He only needs to make 2. He's made this in 9 of his last 10 games. Jaden Hardy, they need the scoring punch off the bench. Minnesota has Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson. They have some people who can score off the bench, whereas the Mavericks have nobody. So Jaden Hardy needs to be that guy. Anthony Edwards, I like his over in points. My concern is what if Lively plays and potentially stifles him a little bit, or there's a bit of fatigue. But I definitely like Anthony Edwards' first quarter points prop. So I'm going to be running that one back. Anthony Edwards, 6 rebounds, 6 assists in a parlay. I do like that better than taking his rebounds and assists. And Karl Anthony Towns, I like the idea of fading his points. And then Mike Conley, been very consistent for me, over 12.5 points. That's one thing that I'm thinking about. So I'll reassess all these plays. My final picks, I'll put them all in Winnable. You can check out my Winnable. That's completely free. I do have a VIP section in Winnable, but the VIP plays are very specific to WNBA, some NHL, MLB. And the reason why I have a VIP for those is because I've paid for some expensive modeling and AI tools to generate those bets. So it's not something I can share on camera and create videos for because I can't explain why the AI thinks those bets are going to win, right? It's a program that I pay for that's going to dish out bets that are going to lead to consistent profit over time. So if you're interested in something like that, you can check out the VIP section of my Winnable. But if you like my free stuff, I appreciate you. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe. If you've made it this far into the video, let's think of a code word to put in it. What I want you guys to do, put in the code word cash, right? If you have not seen it before, this is what Australian $50 notes look like. Drop it in the section below, cash, if you made it this far, because that's what I hope that we're able to generate in this game. So best of luck, everybody. Gamble responsibly if you want. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.